Three mere mortals discover their ability to create entire universes with their minds alone. Upon discovering their abilities, these three, gods if you will, join forces to create the Dark and Stormy Nights, a supercharged team of creatives with the aim of helping artists and writers around the world while combating the forces of boredom and mundanity. They are the Dark and Stormy Nights.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Dark and Stormy Nights, y'all. This is Loki,
This is Tyr.
And Odin.
and we're here to rock your ear holes.
Yep.
So Odin's going to catch us up where we've been and where we're going.
Okay, well, if my math is correct, we're on episode 38. This is a plotting session.
Wonderful.
And let's see.
Where we been?
Tyr did the emotional scene where we brought Robert back to life. I had the scene where the villains overtook the brewery. And
I was stuck being the funny one.
yes.
Where?
Oh, yes, the tentacles. I forgot about
Yes, yes. Spirit finger puppet.
Yes, Spirit
that. Good
Finger Puppet.
times.
Well, I mean, to a point. They should all get tested, though. So,
Is there
You
a
never know where those
spiritual
tentacles
STD?
have been.
yeah,
Is that a thing?
I mean, they were not really solid. I don't know.
yeah. But, and I'm not sure she washed those, and they may have the phantom herp. Just saying. Valtrex ain't gonna fix that shit.
She was messing around with pixies before she...
Yeah, you don't know, man. You don't even know. Linda's a cranky motherfucker.
Alrighty, on that note, we
Yes.
have some plotting
Usually you
to
can
do.
tell if something is dangerous from its coloration, but in this case, it's the haircut.
Did I say what
What?
Linda's color was, though? Well, she was ghosty blue. I guess you really didn't have a choice, right? So,
You know, Karen wants to speak to the manager. Never mind.
Oh, my goodness.
Speaking in
Anyway.
meme, never mind.
so.
Yeah, but this is Linda. And she was flesh-colored, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
because it's the grossest.
Yeah.
Her tentacles were
Well,
flesh-colored.
yeah,
She's
when
blue
she
'cause
came
she's spirit.
through. Yeah, when she came through.
She was like pasty flesh-colored.
She was, yeah, pasty flesh colored. A similar
With
tone
like blue
to.
veining and
Yeah, kind of like Mitch McConnell. Just
or a
very
penis.
fleshy and flappy and gross. You know, similarly, nobody wanted to touch her. So.
Anyway.
And they're both evil and powerful. So. She was just more fun.
Great.
Okay. But
Moving
yeah.
on.
So as a possessing thing, though, she was, yeah, like ghosty blue.
Sure.
Okay. So, all right, we know where we've been. Where do we go from here? So I want to point out
Mm-hmm.
we are in the right location. We're at the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Desmond knows what's going on. Like, he's got his, like, well, I think he's got his wits about him, right? He's looking at the contraption. He's like, I got my staff. I got my lunchbox. I got my...
His
you know,
lunchbox?
Yeah, I don't know. But he's got
Is it
these
like a Star Wars
kettles.
lunchbox?
Well, I don't know that Star Wars was out yet. Close. I think. But anyway. And, you know, he's got this death device, right? So I think he's got an idea in his head of what to do with it.
Did we kill Linda off? I don't.
We did kill Linda.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was
I
finalized.
didn't say
or-
she's dead.
In one blinding blast and one deafening boom, a pulse rocks the city.
Right,
A ring
right.
of blue and pink light permeates everyone and everything else within miles. We mentioned adding a shadow imprint of massive tentacles blackened into the structure. Just as dawn breaks, a fog hangs over the destroyed brewery. Caleb digs himself out of a shallow pile of rubble. Jennifer rubs her head and tries to focus. Through the bright early morning light and dust, henchmen lay dead all around. Crow and his staff lay limp against the wall, caved in, with his impression across the
Yeah, I
street
wrote
from
that
the
poorly.
brewery.
Yeah.
Desmond is holding his staff, seemingly finishing what he started and talking to himself. Oh, he exclaims excitedly. I can use this. Lifting a broken coil into place with his staff. So we're kind of left with Desmond, maybe a little cracked, but, you know, finding a way to continue Linda's work.
Or his rendition of Linda's work.
Right.
Well, this repurposing of Linda's
His,
tool.
Sure.
his more human version.
Yeah. He sees this and sees some kind of promise in it, right? I mean, he sees something he can work with. So I'm not going to tell whoever gets stuck writing this what to do, but I'm not sure this is where we pick up, right? We're not going to necessarily pick up at the brewery where Desmond is putting things together.
No, it should be heroes.
I think
next.
we should, switch over to the heroes who respond to what they've seen. They respond to this blinding light, whatever, all the noises, the Ermagerd.
And
Or what-
Ermagerd.
Yeah, from like,
Yes, the memes.
I actually hadn't seen that meme until like a year and a half ago,
Really?
and I was like, "Where has that been all my life? How did I miss this?"
There's so many versions of it.
It's so great.
so yes, I don't know. I thought about having Linda scream it, but
I almost feel like it needs to be in the book now.
Oh god, that'd be great. For
and with a
the author
deafening
pick.
Ermagerd, she was gone.
But
We're hopped up on sugar or something. I think.
well, what I was gonna say is the cauldron that Linda was working on is basically an amped up version of the portal they already had. So Desmond already knows that the portal can be flipped.
No, you are incorrect.
Well, he was trying to bring his full
He's
real
trying to
form
bring
over.
her body through.
Yes,
Right.
but to do so, it required an insane amount of energy. Those
Right.
cauldrons, when activated, sacrificed everything within miles
Sure.
to it to open the portal. It's a killing machine.
Is it a portal machine or is it to a transport kind of thing?
I don't care.
All right, it's irrelevant because it's not going to do that.
Well, I still think
But
it'd
he
be a
is
rift. I don't think it's Star Trek.
Repurposing it. So
Magic, man. If you want to
His
pull
whole-
something to you,
his whole thing is to actually do the reverse. So he could
Right.
repolarize it to where it sacrifices fey beings to seal the rift once and for all.
Right. Well, also sucking them out in the process.
I don't think that he cares what it's sealing or what it's doing, as long as it kills every fake creature or every non-human creature.
Right, but he wants to keep any others from getting back in.
Yes.
So, I mean, why not get a twofer?
Yeah, I think that's just maybe a happy side effect. His ultimate goal is to kill all the subhumans, as he calls them.
Right.
So your point is, instead of like reversing the flow like what we did with the potion, just use everything that's on this side of the veil to power the thickening that veil up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Reinforcing it or whatnot.
yeah.
Forever separating the spiritual world from the
Which
mundane.
may or may not.
Oh, that's actually not bad.
Shut off magic.
Maybe, yeah.
And perhaps
like,
end wearism.
that's the thing, is that maybe he's making it to where those rifts, those openings, those gateways into his world can never be formed again.
Right.
Maybe.
Which is technically, well, I mean, look,
Well,
if
Okay,
they
but
were,
has done to
listen.
be undone.
if they were all as dangerous as Linda was, this would be a good thing, But
If you
no,
are.
but he's killing innocent creatures. He's
Right.
looking to kill Karen and
yes, if it
Wilhelm
wasn't
and
for
Philip
things like
and
that, yes.
yes, he's killing.
Karen is
all
not
of-
innocent.
Okay, Karen's not innocent either. But this is the thing, is that this would make Earth mundane forever, or until something much more powerful finds some way around what he's done.
Or some other occultist tries to thin the veil
Yeah,
again.
but I don't think that it would be easy. This is something
Oh, no,
that
it'd be more
an old
difficult.
old god type demon started building. It's got an immense amount of power, and if it's really doing this to where it finds some way to block Earth from any other magical gateways and portals and whatnot, I mean, that's a big
Ooh.
deal. That means nothing can get through
I
again.
don't know that I want him to. I don't want him to succeed. Of course, I don't want him
Can't
to.
succeed.
Right, but how great would it be had he even partly worked?
I think
Power
it should partly
magic
work.
is shut off. The gateway through is closed. Wilhelm
Can't
and
shift.
Wilhelm and Philip, yeah, they're normal. They're just humans now.
Yeah, but it's
Well, I think they
Not
kind of do.
my
Like their hair
point.
grows
I am
and
not done. Okay. The point is something greater and more evil that was already here awakens, and then they need the power. Not in this book,
Okay,
of
I
course,
get- I
but
get you, I
maybe
get you.
another book. Something great and evil awakens, and we need the Fae to help us.
something that's already on this side.
Right. Yeah,
Maybe
Right.
sleeping in a riverbed
Yeah.
or something.
it makes a good sequel. I'm just saying, or maybe Thanos arrives.
why Thanos?
No, not
No.
aliens.
I finally saw
We
Infinity
can't have
War.
elder gods and aliens.
I was not impressed.
Are we?
Really?
Didn't like it.
Did you watch the 22 movies that it took to get there,
Well,
or
she,
whatever?
Yeah,
she
I've
didn't,
watched
you didn't watch.
most.
You didn't watch Endgame though.
I haven't watched Endgame.
Oh,
I
you
didn't-
gotta remind me. I've got to give you a. I've got my copy. I'll just.
I thought they did a brilliant job of just.
with
wait,
Infinity War?
the first one you said you saw?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they had all the different actors somehow, like
They weren't
portray
working
themselves as
side by
characters,
side.
still be heroic and doofy, and the interplay.
There was stuff that was funny.
But
I
meant-
definitely laughed. I like the characters.
don't
I
feel
always
so
have.
well, Mr. Stark.
That there was just so many things where I was like, why that? Why what the hell's this? There was like so many I felt like there was a lot of like holes in the
there was,
story.
of course.
Oh no,
holes.
yeah, no, there was.
And it gets worse with the sequel.
Yeah, yeah.
Does
It
it?
was really.
Yeah.
Because
like
time's the whole problem with
the
writing.
first
It
scene
just is.
with I can't talk about this stuff because they're spoilers for a movie that's been out for
Yeah, no, but
forever.
it
Because I'm like
was.
literally the
if they're
last person
listening to
who's
this
seen
and they
this.
didn't see Avengers,
It was very holy. There was a lot of
There's
holes
just
in
like there's no reason that Doctor Strange couldn't have killed him easily with the same scene with the same thing he used in the first scene of the freaking
oh,
movie.
when he chopped up
I-
the dude's arm.
it. In the end,
I was trying to be vague, but yes, that was it.
In the end,
And
I
then-
could have done without Infinity War and Endgame. The franchise was great up to that point, and I was honestly disappointed by them.
Yeah, it was
I
good. It gave
was
the
disappointed
characters
by
a full
Infinity
arc
War.
and a way for them to move
And then,
aside
like,
and
I thought the
let
end
the stories
was
grow.
like because I had expected because basically I knew what was happening in the movie because you can't make it like this long after the movie came out and then I was waiting for Endgame, but you can't make it this long without knowing what happens. There's memes everywhere. I knew within
Oh yeah. No, there were people
Within
purposely spoiling it for
days
people
of the movie
online.
releasing. Yeah, I knew it
Just
was going to
being
happen.
assholes.
Oh, I
But at the same
avoided
time-
groups on
I blocked
Facebook.
people over it. I was like, I mean, I knew who
didn't.
did it,
I
but
don't-
but it,
But I'm
what
like,
kind of shitty person just goes around spoiling things for people? Fuck you.
well, I don't.
Oh yeah, in a comment section that has none to do with what you're talking about. They
Right.
throw it in there like, oh
Yeah.
god damn it.
I don't
Yeah.
care about that.
Well,
stuff.
I started doing counter spoilers where I lied about who died and who didn't and stuff
Yeah, there
like
was
that.
some of that too.
Just to be, try and throw it off a little bit.
But even so, I knew it was going to happen at the end, and the way that it happened was like so anticlimactic, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, like I was like Superman dies in Endgame.
I no, I wasn't
Right.
talking about the plot per se. What I was saying is they did an amazing job of balancing all the different egos and sharing the stage.
I think
Of
they
the
did
different
decent for what
characters,
they had to work with,
it
but
was
I could have
amazing.
done without the whole story. I could have just done without it.
Yeah, the
I
plot
just-
itself's in.
Oh, and
you
their
know,
villain
it's a
was
MacGuffin.
like hit with like everything that these people had to
Yeah,
to
he's
throw
like
at him.
indestructible.
He's indestructible, and yet his whole planet of the same type of alien died out because of a lack of resources. This
Well-
guy obviously has the technology to traverse the
Well, have you
whole
seen him? He needs
universe.
protein.
And it's literally
I
mathematically.
know, but like, it
well,
just
okay,
come
it's worse than
on.
mathematically. Actually, it's not mathematically. I was going to say that you don't have to cut the population in half. You double the resources.
But
But
and
I mean,
then
he's got the,
the population will
technology
cap
to
out
be
to-
traveling the universe, and yet they couldn't have the technology to find some way to increase their
just-
resources. And
yeah,
or
settle more planets.
yeah,
grow more food.
all you have to do is double the
exactly.
resources.
Double resources doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't work.
Yes, it
because-
does. We will only breed to the point to where we can't fit any more people. I mean,
And
It
then you
doesn't
have
matter.
War
The guy
and
was,
starvation
like,
again.
no, you just
blown
double
up and
resources.
still lived, and they're like, oh, but they starved to death.
Humans are capping out now.
They said actually when we reach 9 billion is when we're gonna have resource wars.
Right, but if you doubled the resources, we'd still cap out on population, but we'd have plenty of resources.
No, we have.
We're
plenty-
not capping out on population. We're not stopping populating Earth because of resources right now. That's not what's
right.
happening.
No, I get that. So raising the resources is just gonna make more people.
No, it's not. That's what you're not understanding. The population of Earth is leveling out. It's slowing down. We're not breeding as much, not because there's not
That's
enough
'cause of
resources.
economics. I mean,
That's
you know.
a representation of resources, but
Okay,
nonetheless.
but the point is that if everyone had infinite money, there'd be a lot more people on the planet.
I disagree.
Oh God, yes, there would be.
Kids are
It's
paying
not
the
all
ass.
just education.
Not everybody wants a
No, I
little crotch
disagree as
goblin.
well.
I mean, if it costs you nothing to have a kid, a lot more people would have kids.
No,
I
they
just
are
don't
awful.
think that
Don't
that's
do it.
true because there's a lot of poorer families that have a ton of kids.
Right, that's true.
Yes,
Actually,
well, that's bad planning.
Poor and uneducated is
It doesn't matter. It's
one
also
of the biggest reasons.
in some cases is lack of access to the medical care, to the birth control, things like that. I mean, that's not necessarily an indicator. Your financial level is not necessarily an indicator of how many kids you're going to have.
True. A lot of more wealthy people have less children.
Right.
So.
All I know
Nonetheless,
is this podcast done
we
better.
have
I would
completely
have had kids earlier. That's all I'm saying.
had it done better.
You know, had
Like
we had the
done
numbers
anything, had a single person purchase anything from our shop, gotten a single sponsor, maybe even, I don't know,
So you guys
got
all
enough
kept Odin from having children.
subscribers to matter. Like, hey, look, I love you guys, all three of you, but
Come on, we do better than that. Anyway,
tell your friends for fuck's sake. They won't let me out of this box until you get enough subscribers.
anyway.
we're
so
not
yeah.
that cruel. You're chained to a rock inside of a cave with open air and the sea breeze.
They don't tell you about the chains and the venom dripping into my eyes and all that. So
Anyway, we're supposed to be plotting.
Yeah, we're supposed to be plotting, not discussing
I'm
my
always plotting.
lack of love for. You know what? What was the last? What was the last Avengers movie to come out before Infinity War?
Oh God, I don't know
Was
anymore.
it Ragnarok?
Oh no, it was the Captain Marvel, wasn't it?
Oh, that one I didn't.
I didn't
see.
watch it. Yeah.
You missed nothing. They tried to shoehorn that in, and it made no sense.
Well,
in
and as a
Oh
character,
no, Ragnarok was a bit back, but I think I waited to see it too long.
as a character,
But-
she meant nothing to the story. Like
Yeah, I don't even remember what she did. I think
she flies through ships. Who cares? Get some cannons that can do that.
Well, no,
We don't-
she only does one pivotal thing, and it's sort of
Yeah.
early middle of the movie.
She flies through ships.
Wait, this is in
No, that was
this
in
is
her
in
movie.
the Endgame movie, right?
No, this is in.
She did?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
I was avoiding
I completely
spoilers.
forgot
I
all
think
that.
you
She
guys are
is
going
trying
into
to.
this too
Useless.
far.
They could have changed her out for big guns. Like Tony. No, seriously. Tony Stark could have had the
Could
contingency
she
in
have been
place
okay?
to have big
Could
nano
she have been
guns everywhere.
replaced
You
with
mean like
Hawkeye?
the satellites?
I don't know if she's that useless.
Then she's not that useless.
But at least Hawkeye has storyline.
My favorite
She
part.
is
I'll give you that.
Boring.
My favorite part of the Hawkeye character is when he was on Saturday Night Live. I think it was Saturday Night Live. Anyway,
Yeah. I
and
think
he
I
was
remember
playing
this.
his character, and I don't know, they were doing some battle, and they're like, okay, shoot him. He's like, I'm out of arrows. They're like, well, how many did you bring? He's like, all of them, like 3, you know. And it was the best part because you're just like, yeah, that sums it up.
right. So yeah, I don't.
You know, it's a little unrelated, but I do game design and whatever, and I was doing some research, and apparently, they sold arrows in a sheath, what they called a sheath, which was 22 arrows. So it's pretty standard for them to have 22 on them. I don't think I've ever seen him with that many in his quiver, and even then, he never seemed to run out in the movies. It just kept regenerating arrows.
Yeah, and he always had like something that did something fancy. There was never like plain arrows.
It always seemed like he had like 8
Yeah,
or
he had like
10.
exploding arrows and arrows
there's,
that
like,
kind
the
of.
Well, they
smoke
actually show
arrows,
that. His
bouncing
arrow
arrows.
tips rotate in like the quiver and like.
So they
lock
have like
on.
everything
No, don't
in
get me
each
wrong.
tip.
I
It's
dig
crazy.
I dig like a bow and arrow as a weapon and stuff. It's just that you're fighting giant
Spaceships.
aliens. and
I like to actually shoot bow. Okay.
no, I like the weapon
But
fine.
No, you do not fight
But he's
invincible
not gonna
aliens.
show up as part of the big guns.
Show up.
next
He
to
wouldn't be
those people.
invited. Like they'd be
Right.
like, no. You know what? You can drive. That's you can drive.
Pick up the shawarma.
All right. And then when he went too slow, they'd be like, bend over. I got this. So.
Oh Lord.
Totally.
I would send him off to get coffee. Honestly, that seems
He's
to be
the
his
gopher.
only function. I don't know why he's there.
How did we get on this?
I don't know. I blame caffeine.
We're almost at the break, and I think we've accomplished nothing.
We did accomplish nothing. I'm sorry, it was my fault because I was complaining about it, but I don't remember how I got on the topic.
Yeah, how did Avengers
I'm
help
not
us with
re-listening to
plotting?
this to find out.
I
You're
don't
just gonna have
know.
to re-rail.
I don't know, but I will sum it up by saying I think that was part of my disappointment. Was I saw Ragnarok, which was freaking amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah, you get
And
Guardians of the
then-
Galaxy and Ragnarok, and it's just like, all right, what are you doing with the rest of these movies here?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do? Look, I'm gonna say it
No,
right.
I mean, I'm gonna say
Black Panther was boring.
Yeah,
I like the
wasn't a huge
character.
I was,
fan.
no, but I was thinking,
I wanted to.
dude,
like
I
it.
saw the previews. It's all neon and black, and I'm like, hell yeah, this looks sweet as hell. And then it comes out, and I'm like, this is so boring.
Well, the
It's
part
not
of the main
that.
character has no emotion.
No, here's the thing: is I really love that
He's
character.
not the only flat character in the movie. That's the problem. Is everybody but what's her name? What's the girl's name?
Shuri.
the sister?
Shuri.
I adore
the
her.
only one with a personality.
It's
That's
not
it.
that they
make
have
her
personalities.
make her Black
They're
Panther.
just all so serious, and that's the thing is that we've come to expect these kind of like jokes and this different like that's why
Well, it's
Black
not DC.
Panther's character is so much more awesome when he's blended with the rest of the Avengers. Like in Civil War, I absolutely loved him, but it's because you have that serious, dry character, personality, but then it blends well with the more joking and the more animated
You know what
characters.
was-
I see what you're
So,
saying.
but
He's
now-
plays straight man, and they gave him his own role.
But in the Black Panther movie,
There's no comedic
now don't get me
element,
wrong,
yeah.
it was a good movie. The world building was awesome. I loved
No,
it.
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
I
no,
liked the-
Wakanda is a Mary Sue continent
Oh
or
God,
whatever.
it is ridiculous.
Oh, I love it.
They've got
makes no
everything,
sense.
and it's absolutely ridiculous. No.
I loved the combination.
No, I mean, if it existed, it'd be cool as hell, right?
Yeah.
But it's bullshit.
Well, I don't care if it's
Let's just
bullshit.
give them everything. We got these dragonfly things. None of this tech exists anywhere else in the world. We're somehow independent.
It was
their
Flash
It's not
Gordon
somehow.
as a-
It's because they
their
had
economy
access
makes
to
no
resources.
sense.
Uh,
Did you not feel like
yes,
you were
it does. You
on
didn't
that,
watch the movie.
That, what was
Anyway.
that, the
Yes,
Hawk
I
People
did.
planet on
They
Flash
had
Gordon?
access to resources that weren't anywhere else.
Yes,
Right, and
they
weren't
That's
selling
the
it.
whole point.
And they weren't selling it.
So
They cut off the...
What's the
You
funny-
can't make money off of something you don't sell.
wasn't he rich because he was royalty? I don't know. It doesn't
of,
matter.
Of a country no one's ever
You
heard
still
of.
have to bring things into your country.
That's great. Now, if they had added that to the movie and exactly how they make money and how their economy works, I don't think it would have made it any more exciting. I'm just saying.
You could
Anyway.
really
Fair
literally
point,
mention
fair
it in 10
point.
seconds over one of the jokes that
Oh,
fell
God,
flat.
who gives a fuck? Anyway, on top of that,
This is stuff you tear me apart, though.
it,
Tyr has a point. There is
Who
a
gives a
point
fuck?
where the details become pedantic.
It
But
does.
Right, but
But
it
yeah.
made
So I
no
liked the
sense.
world.
I agree with you.
Who
that
cares?
it took us out of the story. Am I speaking for you?
'Cause
or
you're
am I wrong?
No, it
nerds.
does take you out of the story.
because you're nerds.
No, because it's
Anyway.
bullshit.
I
It's
couldn't
just
buy
like
the world.
Superman.
It
I
was
wanted
no
to.
more
Yes.
bullshit than
No,
Thanos'
stop.
entire race dying out, even
Yes.
though they're indestructible.
It also was bullshit.
Oh yeah, like he caught Hulk's fist. Like what?
Yeah, shut
Dude, you're not
up.
Hulk. You're just an alien.
And even if you
Um,
had
yeah.
caught Hulk's fist now doubles in size and crushes you. Like,
It
that's
was
who
all
Hulk
bullshit.
is.
Like that guy was
He
completely
needed to be like
indestructible.
twice as big as
and-
Hulk for that crap to even happen.
Anyway,
Right.
we're off topic again. But my
Yes.
point is, I really liked
And-
the Black Panther and everything. But it was a little bit dry because of all the personalities were similar, and I think that's the only difference. If they had more of like the Shuris within that world, it would have been much
Yeah,
more
everybody
exciting.
was way too fucking serious.
Yeah.
Shuri was like it. Like, give us like 10 more Shuris, guys, before you make the second one. 10 more Shuris.
We just need a movie that just had
Just Shuri.
Tom Holland and Shuri.
Yes.
Like that's all we need.
And then they can both be like, what are those? That's the break time.
Oh,
See you in a minute.
Dear listener, we accept that we had to sacrifice the whole Saturday for your entertainment, but we think you'd be crazy to miss an episode of The Dark and Stormy Nights. The world sees writers as they want to see them, in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each of us is a brain
And a dreamer.
And a creator,
and a basket case.
a researcher.
And a comedian.
Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Dark and Stormy Nights.
Listen to Dark and Stormy.
All right, we're back. And we're actually going to do our jobs.
Yeah, let's do some plotting
We're
this
going to
time
try
around.
and plot.
Okay, so the first chapter we're cutting to, we're going back to the heroes we were talking about. We
oh,
wanted them to see the light, I guess.
what? Oh, heroes. Yeah.
Yes.
Our
On task.
heroes. Our heroes.
Sorry, well, I'm not used to Odin actually timing the episode like he's supposed to.
So you were trying to play
I
with
was,
your phone.
yeah, I was like, oh, I don't actually have to this time. So, but yes. So hero, yeah, I think it's time to switch over to heroes. So that is Tyr's chapter.
Oh goodness, we've done several of our bad guy heroes in a chapters in a row. I mean, bad guy heroes. Yes, bad guy chapters. Right?
Yeah, I think it's been
We've done
3.
like 3.
Yeah.
So now we need to jump back to, oh gosh, the last thing we did was brought Robert back to life.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think they're having like a cutesy lovey-dovey moment or something like that. And
No, they were down to business. They were talking to the team and seeing what was going on, and he basically, Tedrick said, yeah, so that thing came over, and, worst case scenario, it's taking down, everything in the area.
Well, was Tedrick still there, or did he walk off into the sunset to sad Hulk music?
So at the end of that chapter, he was still around, but there's no saying that he needs to be there for the next chapter. He could have left at any point.
I was just saying, if you want to do the whole pointing finger, told you so.
Told you so. What?
You know,
have
when
him.
the giant pillar of light fills the sky.
That's what we need to figure out is that what you want to do? Our team is like, okay, so what's next? And hey, how about we follow that light?
Well, when they heard that the last thing is, that elder god is on this side of the veil, and then they see the light, I think it's kind of basic math.
blinded by the light.
I mean, if it's not 2 + 2 = 4,
like
it's
a douche
definitely
in the
something
I
they
think
should
that
look
if you
into.
were to plan the soundtrack for this book, it would be pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy.
Blinded by the Light's like an amazing song that nobody knows the words to. What?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that part where it sounds like he's saying something about a douche.
Yeah, woke up like a douche in the middle of the night. Yeah.
I don't think that's what he says.
No, not at all.
I don't remember that.
All right, we're
part.
derailing again. How do we fix this?
We are. We get back on topic. What the hell do you want to happen with our heroes?
Yeah, so blinding light. Everybody's like,
Is that what they do?
yeah.
Well,
Just
what,
like that?
What were they doing when we fade back in and then the light goes off? What's the interior? Let's set the scene. Are they
Wait, the
hanging around
interior of
talking?
what?
Do you want me to
Of-
back up to that chapter?
yeah, are
The
they all
brownstone?
Well, we're not picking up 2 minutes later. We're picking up.
What do you want, like a flash
hours
of
later,
the window?
days later, or
No,
whatever.
no, I disagree. I think that Linda goes Irma Gerd, and they immediately are like, "Oh shit!" So before my chapter
Crow has
ends,
already
the next
taken off,
chapter's
though.
beginning.
Well,
Well, that's the thing. You guys, it could the next chapter could start as Crow took off. And
That's what I'm saying.
we're
I'd
trying to figure out
rewind it
what's
But
to-
going
Crow
on
takes off before the light.
before the Irma Gerd. Yes.
well, yeah. I mean, you got to do their perspective. So I think we have to
God, this
rewind a
is-
little.
Okay,
Yes.
so in the last Heroes chapter, basically, after we had their little mushy moment, so what are we looking at? Robert finally asked. Wilhelm gripped the book in his hands a little too tightly, and for a moment Robert thought his claws would make an appearance. But he seemed to remember himself and set the book down gently. He rubbed a hand over his tired face and let out a long breath. We're dealing with an extremely powerful, ancient creature on the level of the old gods. At best, we're looking at a localized mass destruction, if it's in some way limited without its body. And the worst case scenario, Robert asked? Wilhelm and Crow exchanged a look. Crow stepped forward, the leather in his suit creaking as his eerily distant voice spoke. Worst case scenario of an old god unleashed on this world at full power, that would be the end of times. Mary clutched Robert's hand tightly, and he knew exactly what she was thinking. They'd just found each other again, and once again that was being threatened. Robert sighed. Well, then I guess we better stop the apocalypse. And that's where we left it.
Oh, that would be a great place for the light to go off. We should just have the light go off in that.
But Crow was in the room. So
Oh, yeah,
what
damn.
you can have
That
is
just verbally. I mean, the light would be
Roberta
great.
snatches the staff from the shadows, and bolts, and Crow takes off after her. And maybe they get...
Why don't we just start it with Crow bolting through the house, and they're all like, so what was that about? And, like, Robert's just like, yeah, he's just weird. He does shit like that sometimes, And then so, like, maybe somebody goes outside, and they're like, well, they go outside and stand out there, like, should we go after him? And they're
Yeah, that's-
debating, and then it's like, oh, hey, maybe we should follow that light.
I think it'd be something along the lines of, should we go after him? And he's like, well, if he runs into anything, he'll come and get us. And then, maybe then a light goes off or some point later.
Yeah, I don't think the fight was very long. I think whatever it took to get halfway across London in time, and then what do you think the fight lasted? Like 10 minutes max.
I mean, was it a fight? You just stole his staff from him.
No. Crow versus Linda.
Oh,
I think
that didn't last long.
Yeah, it took like
the
10
more we
minutes
do this,
maybe.
the more I love her name.
Well, I mean, it had to take him probably a good 20 minutes to run across town.
Maybe.
It's on a whole different district.
We didn't say. Yeah.
We didn't
I
say.
kind of
If
described it.
it's 20 minutes away, are they going to see the light?
Oh, yes.
The
Oh, yes.
explosive light, the ring of light.
I don't know.
It's like a
Dude,
supernova.
I mean, like literally anything could happen 2 blocks
champagne
from my house.
supernova.
I ain't going to notice. Just saying.
You're gonna notice the pink and blue light going right
Well-
through you. You're gonna be like, "Am I a bisexual now?"
There is.
I mean,
oh Jesus! But there is
that
something
wasn't
to
a
bear
question,
in mind.
really, but thank you.
In this time period, they do not have radio. I don't think.
Mexican radio.
Don't have TV. They don't have sound machines.
They
If there's
did
a
have-
big explosion, people notice.
They did have radio, but
Yeah, they probably did. But either way, nobody would listen to it religiously, a couple hours a day maybe, but not like all the time,
I'm pretty sure Jerry Falwell was on radio then. So, just saying.
way
Don't
back in
know who that
1910.
is.
Oh, he's a religious nut.
Oh. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, so do we agree that maybe starting off with Crow just like bolting through the house and they're all kind of like, is
Yeah,
how
I
to
mean
start-
that's fine. I mean,
maybe a little bit funny.
all right.
The creak of leather, like
what's
moving
the-
too fast.
What do you think the point of this chapter is? I mean, of course, it's to bring the team together. And
Basically, the point is to get them to the brewery.
Well, if you want to mislead, okay, so what's her name? Roberta steals the staff.
yes,
You could have Dale chasing after her, and then Crow just feet behind chasing after, and it looks like he's chasing the pig. So he's scrambling
That's not
over
bad.
himself, running through the house, and it looks like he's chasing the pig, and they think he's playing her or something. They don't know what's going on, and then he's gone.
they think that our dead dude is playing with a pig.
Nobody understands. I don't know.
I mean it's not a terrible idea that Dale notices
spitballing
Roberta
here.
with the staff and takes off after her.
These are not
don't
fully
see
formed
that.
thoughts.
Can
They-
we make, if he does, can we make Dale turn into the big werebore again?
That'd be horrifying on Roberta's behalf. But then, yeah, what happens by the time they get to the
Also, the way
brewery?
you
Did he lose
described
Dale?
him, ugh.
You know.
Yeah, that's not fun. Ugh, I don't know. I
You-
love the werebore though.
Well, no, but I mean, it's not it's not a problem for it to work out that way. But then you have to think of how did she lose him? You know, did he get stuck in something? Maybe did he go to ram her and get stuck? Like his tusks got stuck in something. That might be interesting.
I don't know.
They find him halfway there, still stuck in it.
I don't know because also is Dale too gentle to kill something though?
I didn't say. I mean,
And
it doesn't
also-
saying he has to kill
Yeah,
her.
no, because you're right. In the combat, he did it in defense. He was being attacked.
He didn't kill anybody in the fight. He scooped Meredith out of the way of a tentacle and knocked the other Meredith into the path, but it didn't say that he did it intentionally. He just scooped one out of the way and the other one ended up in the path inadvertently.
I think in defense of another, he would definitely.
I
And
think-
boars are very dangerous.
I think in
creatures.
defense of his
Very.
family, he'd definitely, do what it took.
But yeah, I
but
see him like
killing
a pet.
Roberta
He's
is
too
not
good-natured.
on the table.
No, but I don't see him. I mean, what's saying he wouldn't pin her? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could see that.
But again, he didn't because she made it.
Right.
So something happened along the way, stopping him. So, like I said, I mean, I think it's feasible he may have gotten stuck or trapped somewhere, or any number of things, and then the team has to bail him out. So there's a whole scene where they
Maybe we
However,
leave
that
Dale
could
out of
make-
it.
Make Dale the reason why he gets the attention of everybody. They get outside, and then the light goes off.
I mean, this is really a small detail. All we need to do is get Crow out of there, and then somehow have the team see the light. Is it so bright that it like bursts in through all the windows?
Yeah, well, I don't remember if I said or not that it blows out windows, but
Yeah, I don't
This
necessarily
far
mean.
away, I don't think it'll just blow them out.
I
but
don't-
it'll light them up. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily need to be breaking their windows, but so that they can see it, even if they're sitting inside the house. Like all of a sudden,
have
every
you ever
window-
seen a supernova?
Yes, I saw one last week.
So
I was sitting in the middle
Actually,
of it.
there was a recent one.
No,
and I think I did
I
witness
have
it.
not.
you never even seen like the video rendering of one?
No.
So yeah, basically a ring blows out from
A year
center.
or two ago.
You know, There's supernovas every night.
No, but there was one that was barely visible. Like there was like a blue star.
Yeah, all we saw was a giant flash in the night sky. That's it. It was a bright light in the
It was
middle of
kind
the
of
night.
cool.
Okay, so that obviously doesn't
Right,
light up
but
anybody's
the,
windows.
Oh my god! It would if it was on the planet. It would just destroy the whole planet.
Right.
Obviously, which we don't want to do.
Right. So in a brewery, a micro
Well,
supernova
this is
would have blown
spiritual
out a
energy,
ring
not
of light.
fire.
In this case, pink and blue, that went through everything. It permeated everything there was in London.
Ooh, would that make more wares and supernatural things? As it
That's
impregnates
completely up to the
everything?
writer. In
Like
this
I could
case,
see houses
it is
being
Tyr's
haunted
turn to
and,
write
like,
it.
you
So
know.
you do what the fuck you want with it. But I was thinking that at the end, they make it to the brewery to discover, I don't know, like Desmond.
So we can actually leave Crow out of this completely.
almost done. Well, Crow's by the end of the chapter is crumbled up on the ground. They may even discover him already gone.
Let's leave Crow out and just start with Flash of Light.
Okay.
I thought it would be kind of funny to have his like leather suit running through the house, but it's
Like squeaking?
like squeaking. Like what the hell's that noise? And it's just Crow running through the house because that's all he does is squeak, the squeak of leather. But it's unnecessary.
Okay.
And it's a waste of time because they would have to have 20 minutes between the time that he went running through the
That's-
house. And
so
the flash
what are
of
the
light.
benchmarks?
So it just works better to leave it off completely.
If he just vanishes.
what are the benchmarks?
He's just not there.
of the chapter.
So we start with Flash of Light. Then we need to have the group show up at, what, a pile of rubble?
Well, technically, Desmond is rebuilding the death machine.
Right, but you broke shit in the last
Does he
chapter.
need any more parts?
I think it's
Or
all
is it
there.
just magical reprogramming?
He's just got a. He's using. I think I claimed he's using his staff to lift
Right.
things into place, and I have established that the staff does have a heat ray within it, so he may be welding things into place with the staff.
Well, I mean, it spits fire, so why not?
So
Okay, so the Flash of Light, the team shows up at the brewery. They find Crow in the lantern. I don't know. What's the plan? Are we having Wilhelm see the machine and ignore the calculations, or has this stuff survived the blast?
I think that they're not necessarily assuming that Linda's no longer in control. They might still be assuming that Linda's in control.
Okay.
Wait. How would they know that Linda was ever in control of Desmond from their point
They
of view?
wouldn't know. They would just know that Linda was still on this plane.
Oh, that's fair.
So, okay, so we need to decide if we're keeping Tedrick so that he can say the god is
Exposition man?
gone. Yeah. Or if we want Tedrick gone at this point.
I thought we were getting rid of him sooner, so I don't know.
But we never actually
I
had
thought he
him.
So
walked off into the night
basically-
at some point.
I thought he did too, but if we didn't write it in, then
He
he's
really
still around.
didn't. But
so either we got to write it in.
No, I mean we can leave him out. Like all it has to do is, be some kind of like, well, he went home, But so if he's gone, they have no way of knowing that the god is gone. They're going to show up at this brewery looking for the tentacle creature.
For a little fun of their own.
Okay, well that could be interesting. Like, okay, so they bust in. Most of the goons are dead. It's pretty much them squaring off against Desmond. They got him outnumbered. Because who the hell's left alive? Who's still around? I don't know if Jennifer's there. I don't know if Caleb's there. 'Cause
Yeah,
he went out.
I described that.
You said Caleb went out and had a conversation. I don't know if he got back yet.
Odin, he was unburying himself from a pile of rubble at the end of the chapter.
Okay. Anyway, point is, he's got a couple minions, but we described most of them either sacrificed or killed off by the
Most
blast.
of his minions are dead from
Right.
the struggle.
So, when they get there, they actually have Desmond outnumbered. And then Desmond starts, expositioning in an overconfident way, as he likes to do. And they'd be like, we don't got time for your crap.
You want the
We-
monologue?
Yeah, a little bit. and
I'll get you, He-Man!
well, he's learned some lessons. He doesn't need to make it paragraphs long. But, some overconfident digs would be nice. But the point is that while he's going off on them, they're like, dude, we don't have time for your crap. There's an elder god on the loose. And he goes, oh, that. Yeah, I dealt with that already. Just
Who do you want to say that to him, though?
Desmond,
No,
taking
no.
credit for it.
You want who talking with Desmond over this?
Oh,
Are
well,
heroes
yeah, the
conversing with him?
heroes. You know, like basically they show up and they're like, "Oh, you're here. Okay, great. Whatever. Get out of our way. We got to deal with another god." And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's been dealt with."
Or we still have Roberta sitting around here somewhere. Does our team know that Roberta is evil? Or she's not evil, but I should say she's on their nemesis team here.
Well, if they seen her in that battle on the
Did they, though?
farmstead.
There was kind of a lot going on.
I don't know if they did.
What
or didn't.
farmstead?
Oh,
you mean
Miller Farm?
when we closed the portal?
Yeah,
Like, that would really, I think, be the only time they could have seen her.
right.
And there was a huge battle going on with a big portal in their way.
I'm not saying they did. I'm
Where
just
are we
saying they
going
could
with
have.
this?
My point is that our heroes could show up, find Roberta maybe digging herself out of rubble,
Okay.
help her because she just looks like an innocent bystander, and then maybe somebody casually asks, "You haven't seen an old god around here, have you?" You know, and they could get some answers from her.
Now that'd be, if you actually phrase it that way, that could actually be kind of funny.
I mean,
It just sounds like something you'd see in Ghostbusters. You know,
that's true.
you haven't seen a god,
Which is
you know,
essentially what
walking
they
around
are,
here.
our little extermination team.
Um,
And then they recruit Roberta, like I've tried to do since she joined the villains team.
Oh, those. Yeah,
you want her to go to
those
the
people
good
are
guy's
crazy.
side?
I just want her to leave Jennifer.
I don't
At
know.
this point, if you're going to quit,
Well, I'll tell you what. This may be a fuck this moment. You know, this
So
certainly.
you guys
isn't
have
worth the money.
dental.
Right.
I don't think she's joining, but she's probably leaving London. Like, yeah, there's other places I can go.
Yeah. This is definitely probably this is enough moment for anybody left.
I got a aunt in Wales. I'm just gonna.
All right. For perspective, Caleb most definitely has another.
Was
job.
it the tentacle puppets? That might have been what did it.
So-
That sealed the deal.
You know what? I don't know. Look, it was very funny and all, but the truth of the matter is, it's quite unnerving that this thing, is using all of your friends as finger puppets, and playing with them like they're toys, you know, and then just sacrifices them at will.
I mean, some people pay for that service, but
It's mildly disturbing. I'll give you that.
The realization that those exist in the universe, you know,
Yeah.
might drive one to kind of quit the business.
yeah, like it's definitely a fight worth fighting, but maybe not by me.
So, yeah, my point is,
I mean, truly, this could be the point where Roberta sees, what she's been working for.
well, the question is, where does Roberta fall in this now?
Right.
Does she just get the hell out of here?
Because she's never
Does she
truly
work
been
to stop
evil.
them, or does she see this as true power and double down? You
Oh
know?
no, she's always been a mercenary.
So,
The only
but
person who would be
even
more
mercenary-
interested is Jennifer.
but even mercenaries can become zealots. So,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe if Talbot's messaging got to her.
so
I've
what
always
is?
felt like Roberta was in it for the money
Yeah.
and the adventure. Like I don't know that she ever really considered that she was a villain. And I think that she was just going along with her
Yeah.
job.
All mercenaries are villains in the end, whether you want to believe it or not. All mercenaries are villains.
See interesting people, meet new places.
Yeah. Meet and kill.
It
new
was
interesting
in
people.
the job description. Okay, but also Meredith kills and Robert probably has killed and Crow absolutely has
I'm
killed.
not saying they don't, but they generally kill bad people.
Yeah.
And mercenaries are less discriminate than that.
I feel like Meredith hasn't stolen anything in too long as well.
Maybe, and this might be her chance to shine by stealing the golden staff right out of Desmond's hands.
Not to mention we
Ooh,
still
I feel like that's his security blanket.
have to retrieve the remains of Crow.
She will, but I don't think she'll consider that stealing.
Well, look, this is probably our climax here. This is the end, my faithful friend, the end.
Well, that's a good note.
So
Let's go to break.
Our merchandise brings all the boys to the yard. Go see why on our website at thedarkandstormynights.home.blog.
All right, folks, we are back, and real quick, Tyr is going to do another one of her wonderful book reviews.
Yeah, so this week the book review that we posted was The Lightning Rod by author C.S. Ratliff. This one's an epic fantasy, so I'm just going to read you the little summary of the book that was submitted.
Cool.
It's been 12,000 years since the last lightning rod elemental stood guard. The world is in chaos. Shadow magic is spreading outside the walls of secrecy. A new savior must rise and bring balance for the fate of Ganarium. Will the lightning rod become the hero the world needs, or succumb to the darkness? I don't know if I said that city name right, but there it is. So this was a really interesting fantasy. Lots of magic, lots of battles. A young hero on a new path. It was a good book. I definitely recommend this one.
I love a lot of magic and battles in the story. It's just not often done very well. Do you do the...
So yeah, that is a thing, and that was something that I noticed too, because sometimes magic battles can end up almost a little anticlimactic. Like it's just
boring.
Energy balls being lobbed back and forth, and like that kind of thing. That was not the case with this book, and that was something that I was definitely enjoyed.
That's cool.
The elemental type of magic was actually done really well. I really liked the world building and the magic system. And so I think that having those different elements involved in the magic really kept like the battle scenes interesting.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Are we ready to try and figure out this dilemma we're having?
Yeah, we have a few things to figure out in this upcoming chapter.
Okay. So did we decide, is this the final battle? Is this chapter going to be the final battle, and then the last two are coming home?
So...
Or do you think there's more to it?
I don't know, because, I mean, the final version of this...
Well, let's look at what objectives we want.
The truth is, everything's right in place for this to be the final battle.
The final version of this is Desmond being hauled off to jail in the end game.
Right.
And then the...
Are we in a position to do that?
And the
Desmond's here.
epilogue-like chapter where everyone's happy at their house and they think everything's
Well,
fine
look,
right before that.
I mean, realistically, we could have the heroes arrive.
Mm-hmm.
They do battle with a Desmond more capable than he's ever been because some part of the demon god's been left in his mind or something.
Well, he's learned
it's
from
knowledge or something, right?
Yeah, and it also combed through his memories and put things together in the right order. So
Yeah.
things he already knew, he now knows
Yeah,
better,
it just
clearer.
handed him epiphanies.
Yes.
So
exactly.
because it never expected he'd win, and he didn't. In the end, he got lucky. Somebody else won this battle for him. But the fact of the matter is that he comes out on top, in this moment. So the only way to beat him, I think, of course, is before he
Teamwork.
gets... Well, it's not just that, it's going to take teamwork, but on top of that, he's not ready for this battle because...
he's still working the cauldron.
As the heroes show up.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have to put in somewhere is that our team recognizes Jennifer before she manages to get away. Remember, we have to have Robert, Meredith, Zara, somebody recognize Jennifer for who she is. The
Yeah.
person
Well,
who
the only
killed
one-
Robert.
Was Meredith when they after Robert dies?
Meredith would have no idea what she looks like. This
Zara
is
ran
either
into
Zara
her.
or Robert would know her.
Or was it Zara?
Zara ran into her.
Okay, yeah. That would be who would have to recognize her then.
So, there's no problem with that. But, she's wherever. I don't know. But she still gets away.
She will get away. Oh, she's the one who has to throw Desmond under the bus in order to
wondered-
get away.
I did want her to run off with maybe.
You want to give her the staff?
Yes, I want her to get a small win. Like she doesn't
Well,
get the book.
The problem is we didn't bring the book here. So where is the book? And how did the heroes get it? Because we said it was going to go to them, but
Well, it was in
but
the sewers.
how? That is the only thing out of place. We didn't bring it with us unless we say that she did bring it.
I mean, the thing is that her and Roberta and Caleb were looking for ways to take out Linda. So perhaps we could have had her go fetch the book at that point and be looking through that while
So we would have to rewrite that.
while Caleb, we already have to redo that chapter anyway because we're switching the perspective on it.
Sure.
But have her do that while Caleb is talking to the shadows or whatever.
Okay.
Or while they're plotting to do those things, whatever it is. I mean, that's something we can easily slip back in there.
So yeah, so the book could be here. So if she gets away with the Cobra staff, you know, that's I guess a fair prize. It
Well,
still
if
means she
has
doesn't
the
lose
book when
anything.
This is all going down. How does she not run off with the book at the end?
Right now, she is directly in Desmond's view, and he is a lot more powerful than he was a minute ago.
And now he cares about the book in human form.
Yeah, and he would in human form.
So
the only reason she stayed before Desmond became Desmond again was because Linda was going to kill them all. She had to stay in order to save her own life.
I feel like okay, so he gets confronted by the heroes or something, right? And of course, with his newfound power or what have you, he assembles this like wall or maybe a literal wall in front of him out of the rubble.
Okay.
You know, or what have you. But I see him kind of like raising up into the air himself.
Yeah.
You know. And then like she's got the book tucked away in like her bag or something like that, and
He
he
just
just
pulls it
pulls
through
it
the air.
right no, like right
Yeah.
out of the bag, you know, without
Yeah.
even thinking about it with his magic power.
That's what I
and
was thinking.
The staff is lifted up, and but I think it'd be a funny scene. She's like still holding onto the book and like like
Almost
being-
hanging off the ground.
Yeah, being lifted
Like,
into the
damn
air
it.
by the book.
Damn it. Now, I think the important thing to bear in mind is when the group confronts Desmond, I think Meredith should be absent because it's too easy to forget. She loves the shadows, and she'd be very useful somewhere in mid-battle to come out of them. And all the confusion and the noise and the lack
I think
of...
this is all going to be too much for one chapter.
Well, yeah, I think it's gonna. It's a confrontation. It could easily be more than one.
So now we're gonna have battle at the brewery 1 and 2.
Yeah,
probably.
basically.
I think that's true.
And then the final wrap-up
Yeah,
where
I get the
Desmond goes to jail.
conclusion. You all hate it and rewrite it. Awesome.
Just here's
Or,
I'm not.
Here's a
or
tip
you
for
could
you.
stick to the plotting.
you could stick to the plotting.
We could try. We certainly can try.
You know what we'll do is we'll do it slowly, and you can write it down.
All right.
I write it down. I can email it. I mean, it's not like these plotting sessions go nowhere. Anyway. So, okay. Jennifer maybe tries to steal the book. Desmond stops her.
Well, I was saying that the heroes show up and challenge Desmond, and Desmond, almost cocky, just assembles the wall out of rubble and stuff like that. But in doing so, he is levitating himself up off the ground, pulls the book from her satchel, but not like physically, like
Yeah,
with magic,
telekinetically.
you know?
Yeah.
Like he just knows it's there.
So we're saying that Linda left Desmond with all kinds of magic he didn't previously have?
I'm saying that he was left alone in the library of Linda's mind
And his
made
own.
good use of it while he was there.
There's a lot of stuff that he had learned that he didn't
We
understand.
said that think about it in dream time. Every minute is like an hour.
Yeah, that's all well and good. It's just I didn't realize that magic was a learned ability versus something he inherently had. I knew he had magic
I
in
think
his
there's
He's
a lot
using
of
staff.
books. He doesn't have any natural ability. He's been using
Right.
books
So now he's been using his staff.
and the books.
Well, he has his staff back now.
They aren't
I
wi-
mean-
if he was a witch, he'd be just as guilty as the fake creatures he's
So-
trying to kill off, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So it's got to be a learned ability, not inherent.
Science, if you will.
So,
Right. The science of magic.
Regardless, he's already blurred the line, and he's a hypocrite.
Oh, of course he is, but he's using the tool of evil to smite evil.
Yes.
I don't know. It reminds me a bit of if anybody's seen Dark City, where he learns all the collective knowledge in a single memory that's given to him. He like lives 20 years in a single thought.
Okay, so now we have to consider this big, huge blast of light. Is anybody else coming looking?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cops are definitely going to show up, but I think it's going to be after everything's either settled or they're going to end up getting murdered.
Consider your tools in this situation. No, yeah, no, I think that there are
Consider
authorities.
the cops can't be killed because they have to take Desmond off to jail.
Well, not all of them.
Just a
But-
lot. A lot.
So maybe Desmond turns on the police, and that's what he's going down
consider
for.
this: you have a lot of dead people around. He could raise dead, make himself a little army. He could assemble walls. He could do all kinds of things.
Oh, you think that's in his skill set?
There was a demon god in his head.
Yeah, I know, but then
Are
he's
there any
gonna
spare
make undead?
unicorns around that we could murder in order for him to raise this army?
I think there was a baby crawling down the street.
Okay, that'll
can
work, I
slaughter.
guess.
I would make it anticlimactic, though. It should just pop.
Oh, come on. That's horrible.
That's it. Like,
I will see you in hell.
and then they're like, "Why? Just why?"
Oh,
Because I could.
okay.
In Sir Christopher Lee's voice.
I
of
was
course.
trying to tease Odin, but you just took it somewhere completely else.
From that day forth, I
Anyway.
heard the sound of children crying.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
There is such a thing as too much caffeine in it. It is this episode.
I'm drinking beer.
This episode has gone horribly awry.
a rather subpar Blue Moon mango wheat.
Ugh. I'm not
That
with you on
just
this
sounds
one.
subpar.
The first time I had it wasn't too bad, but now I'm kind of like, eh.
Yeah, mango doesn't belong in beer.
Yes. All right, we're okay. So
I was
were-
just
we
giving
were-
suggestions for what to do with this chapter. I think that popping a baby.
We're not
Why
going
is there
to
a
pop
baby?
a baby. We're not.
like, where did it come from?
His name is Willie.
All right, we're not
there's
making the
enough
backstory
Willies.
for a fictional baby that's never showing up in the story. Let's just move on.
You could give a
We're
whole
back on the child possum. What is
entire
wrong with you two?
backstory of this little baby Willie just for it to pop. Willie was a good lad. No? Okay.
Also, no. Anyway.
I was actually thinking that he might betray everyone that's still around, because he's created a wall around him, and at some point maybe Caleb's like, "What do you want me to do, boss? Die? I don't know."
I don't know about all that. I
I
mean,
mean,
there's
does he
time for that
need
shit.
Caleb? I mean, does he need anyone anymore?
Caleb just waits for orders. He doesn't ask for them.
Okay, so also we need to figure out how big this is going to be. How big is this battle? Is this, well, Desmond's outnumbered, we're all going to just disable his machine and that's the end of it?
Yeah, it's a little anticlimactic after the
No,
phallic tentacle creature.
What? No, that's what I'm saying. He's just unleashing magic. He was shown by a demon god how subpar he is. How just
So now he's got to overcompensate.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
CGI.
yes,
that's where we're at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, get Michael Bay on this shit. Okay.
It's all green screen.
Lots
I
of
can't, I can't
lots of
Michael Bay.
explosions. Okay.
What's he going to explode? The neighboring buildings?
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes.
Why do you do this to me? This is a 2-chapter.
Maybe use that telekinetic
fight
power
then.
and start pulling down the roof on the people.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Well, look, you've got a crumbled brewery. You
Oh
can.
god, like a tornado shrapnel?
Yeah, like bricks flying around in circles and
Rebar
stuff like
and
that, making a force field or something like
Wood
that.
with nails sticking at odd angles, flying around.
Yeah. Raise all the dead people, make them an army of.
How do you want the
of
heroes
corpses.
to survive this shit?
They're capable.
The power of teamwork. No,
hate you
honestly,
guys.
Smiling friendship.
because they all got.
Their rainbow powers.
Yeah.
It's an anime. Brotherhood.
Now we have a team of Care Bears.
Friendship.
That's lovely.
No, what I'm saying is they all are specialists. So I think only by them working collectively using their separate abilities, that's what I'm saying, like Meredith
That's
with her
true.
thief-like
Our
assassin
team
abilities.
needs to have their final epic.
where everything they
That's what
do
I'm saying.
finally
Cohesive
comes
team.
together.
They need a climax.
So,
Oh, jeez, don't we all?
well, that'd be kind of interesting because through the whole thing, Wilhelm's been trying to control his werewolfism, and he needs to lean into it. Now, he totally hulked out in rage.
Like that, I
But
think this should half work.
this
By the way, I
machine-
think Desmond's plan should half
Yes,
work.
this machine is actually causing him to, as he starts growing his hair,
You
it starts
really want to
receding
turn
back into
Philip
his
and
skin.
Wilhelm human?
No,
Just
hold
temporary.
on. Hear me. What I'm saying is, okay, so this machine is taking away fayness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I
Like
know
it's
what I'm
almost
gonna
separating
do.
him into two people or
Right.
something like that.
So he's trying to hulk out, and the hair starts growing, and he starts his bones start
it
crunching
starts
a little,
manscaping him.
and then the hair recedes back in, like it starts shrinking
Boy,
back.
I wish I could do that.
And he's fighting the machine. He's trying to gain control of his werewolfism to gain enough power as he's walking towards the machine.
What if it renders Dale normal?
What's normal for Dale?
It takes the magic
Just being
out
an
of it.
adorable pig.
He's just a pig.
Yeah, he just becomes a pig.
Or so we think, until a very interesting point in the second book.
No. It's the very end, like the after credits scene, right? And Dale's rolling around on the ground or whatever, and like
Hiccups again?
everybody walks out of the room and he farts, and then he's like suddenly full bore, and then he farts again, he's back to normal, and then somebody walks through. What's going on out here?
Why do you do this shit? Anyway,
We all want a post-credit scene.
so here's what I'm thinking: is that
Stinkers in a book.
I'm maybe going to. You're sure you want the machine to start to work?
I think that it should render at least magic inert for a time.
Okay.
I'm seeing distortions in the air itself.
Yeah. People look like they're two people at once. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like overlaid
Yeah, like
images.
almost refracted. But I'm talking like almost like that the heat waves you see coming off the street on a hot summer's day. You know, it's
I'm
just
putting those
there's
off right now.
certain unreality to space. I like almost a definable border as you get closer to them. You can almost see
Sure.
the edges of.
Our world and the Fey world overlap a little bit, and it's
Okay, so I think that
separating
that's
those.
what we can do this first chapter as is we have them confront him. They realize that, okay, this is what we need to stop. Desmond is showing to be much more capable than he was before, and in them trying to figure out what they need to do, he activates his machine.
You're already too late.
The machine starts to work. It starts to send out waves of energy.
I'm saying like there's
something
like lightning bolts hitting things and like pulling them apart.
Like, yeah, I think that
Well,
it'll
it's
have
got
the
that
little
whole-
arcs of
Yeah.
energy and stuff sparking all over it, which only makes it more dangerous for somebody to shut down. But I think that we'll have it start to work. It starts to put out waves. There's at least a perimeter that it's going to
Hammond
reach.
should be safe though because he's wearing a gimp suit underneath his normal clothes,
Why?
Hammond
Like-
is not magic,
rubber and no, he's just wearing like a rubber suit,
just for shits and giggles.
kinky,
I was-
whatever.
When did he have time to set up that date?
Oh Lord. Anyway,
Coming back from victory, set up a Tinder dates or something. What's the lost chapter in that?
it was the brownie princess or something that he had a date with.
Hammond, baby, it is time for your spankings.
Oh God!
Anyway.
Hold
On that note.
saving the world.
Anyway, so the machine starts to work, right? Desmond manages to hold them off long enough for him to get the machine modified and running.
Mm-hmm.
And at what point that it starts running, that's when he turns back and he's like, all right, done, and like then he can focus his attention on the fight. And so I think that we can end this chapter with somebody managing to deactivate the machine. It's already started working. They stopped it before it killed off all of the creatures. And that should put out enough of a start to the magic or whatnot.
Well,
That we know that it does something by Wilhelm suddenly changing back.
all it would take is someone going into that field, being rather mortal, and just damaging one of those Tesla coils would disrupt things enough that it would. Now, I see it as sort of a catalyst, so the process is already going, but without what brought it into being, it might not have the energy to keep going. You know what I mean? It might wind it down a little.
Well, I thought it was powered by the Fey energy that it's. draining.
Yeah.
That's not the point. I mean,
So how
We have to
would you
disrupt
throw a
that,
spanner
though,
in the
because
works?
he can't
By
drain
literally
all of
throwing
the
a-
Fey creatures. We can't kill.
no. It just starts to work.
Starts to work.
So it starts to separate the two dimensions. What I'm saying is all it successfully does is drive a wedge between this world and the Fey world.
and it sucks some of the magic out of the Fey
Right.
creatures.
But it's not complete, which means that it's only going to be a temporary effect. But the reader doesn't know that.
right, and that's what I'm saying is we get somebody who manages to shut the machine down, and we know we end this chapter with Wilhelm suddenly shifting back, and he can't change back.
Well, that's what I'm asking. How do you shut a machine down when the process was to start this magical process, and once it's going, it's starting to be
Literally
fueled
damaging
by
it.
Fae? So the only way to stop it is get the Fae the hell away from this machine.
Breaking
No,
it.
You literally, it's a mechanical machine. You literally damage it.
Okay.
If it can't convert
Maybe
energy.
punch a hole in the cauldron?
It doesn't even have to be that. I mean, it's got Tesla coils all over it. Just crack one of the Tesla coils.
Okay, so you think all that is still necessary to this effect?
Yeah, you just shifted it up a little bit. I mean, staff's built into it. I mean, breaking the staff loose might do it.
Okay,
you know.
wasn't sure if that was just getting
And
the
if he
spell
breaks the staff
going,
loose,
or-
that means Jennifer can make off with it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think that this is kind of pre-battle, really. Like somebody breaks the
So
machine.
you're saying that we get up to the point where we break the machine and then the battle begins?
Meredith. Again,
No.
she's in the shadows. She could just get up to the machine and take a piece off or steal the staff or whatever.
I'm saying that up until this point, Desmond has been distracted with getting his machine running and on. Okay, he gets it turned on, then he turns back to the team. Now he can focus on the fight.
Oh, okay, so
I'm
the
not saying
machine's
he
running.
hasn't. Not saying he hasn't been fighting at all. I'm saying that hasn't been his focus.
Right.
So now he's focusing on the team. He's ready to take them on while he's distracted with fighting them. Somebody manages to shut the machine down.
Yeah, but that's
at the end of
that's
the
the
chapter.
next chapter after that.
They shut the machine down, but and we know that it started working by the fact that Wilhelm can no longer change. At this point, Desmond is pissed. There is a huge fallout between.
But that's
the
the
groups.
second chapter.
That's the next chapter.
Right. And then the final chapter.
So I'm saying we end this
Oh, I
chapter
see.
with Wilhelm can no longer shift,
Well, I think neither could Philip, maybe.
but Philip's not there.
He's not?
Oh, he's not? He was
I
at
thought
the-
they all
I thought he was
they
at the
were all
brownstone.
in the house.
He was at the brownstone. Do you remember? He was injured, and Wilhelm said he was sitting out the next fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Yeah, all right. I can see that.
Okay.
Wait, was anybody else injured?
Zara had been cut on her neck. Philip was the worst injury.
Was Zara's bad?
The girl was trying to flay her face off, but she didn't make it far before Dale saved her.
Okay. Is this enough to write the
I'm
next
just
two
trying
chapters?
to see would Zara be in this battle?
I think Zara's fine.
I think you'd be hard pressed to keep Zara out of a
That's
battle.
the thing. She was ready to sacrifice herself after the injury happened on the field.
Okay.
So, all right. Is this enough to write the next two chapters?
No, I think it's enough to write the next one chapter, but I think we can
From that. yeah,
that we can plot out the rest of the next chapter.
Okay. Are we good?
I think so.
I think we're good for now.
Okay, great. So you guys can all keep up with the action at thedarkandstormynights.begvasirmedia.com. Check us out on Twitter at thedarkstormyk1. I'm hilarious, and I run that shit.
Don't forget to go to our website to find the book review that we talked about today on The Lightning Rod by C.S. Ratliff. The full book review is listed on the site, and the links to purchase the book, if you'd like, are also listed there.
You can listen to us on Google Play Music, iTunes, Spotify, and we are now on YouTube as well. So, and don't forget, Tier has a book out. Tell them where they can get that at.
You can look up The Cost of Justice on Amazon by Nova Drake.
And we'll see you next time.